Hello everyone, welcome back for some more Let's Play Higurashi. We are continuing the Watanagashi chapter as, well, last night wasn't great, honestly. There was a lot of things that went wrong. It's a new day. We might wake up and, maybe our friends will be back, but, most likely that won't be the case, and it's just something that we're gonna have to, well, I'm not gonna say learn to live with, but it's something we're gonna need to try and figure out, right? Rika's missing, Satoko's missing, worried about our sanity also being missing, but we'll see. I saw a ceiling I was familiar with. Though I was groggy from sleep, I did notice that I was in my futon, like I was every morning. I looked at my clock and, despite having turned in so late last night, I had awoken at precisely this moment I always did. I'm so low on sleep. I guess you really can get up at the same time every day. The secrets of the human body never cease to amaze me. If I went back to sleep like this, I would definitely not be waking up again. I spurred myself on and slipped out of my futon. Mom asked me about last night at breakfast. Apparently, we too had gotten a call asking if we knew where Rika-chan and Satoko were, and Mom vaguely understood that something serious was happening.
じゃあ、昨夜はお友達とみんなで夜遅くまで探してたの
3時くらいまでかな。うん。
結局見つかったの？そのリカちゃんとサトコちゃんは。
Crunch. I wearily bit into my toast. It really didn't have any taste, 'cause dang, we were all out of that Nutella, baby. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if it's just her? Just then, we heard the chime go ding-dong. I looked up at the clock and saw it was about 5 minutes past my regular meeting time with Rena. It was her at the door.
Ohayo.
That sprite glitch is terrifying every time.
少しは眠れたかな
何時間寝れたんだろうな。多分、鶏の足でも数えられるくらいだと思う。
What a saying. That's gotta be right from, like, Japan. That's not a, like, I've never heard that before. Unless it's just a joke and, like, he just made it up, in which case, good going. That kind of rocks. Rena seemed pretty sleep-deprived as well. There was something missing from her usual spirit.
学校、行くか。
その方がね、きっといいと思うの。
She said, smiling, albeit stiffly. Rena was probably worrying her heart out about those two as well. Even so, she wanted to go to school.
今日お休みしたら、きっとケイチくんは病んで寝込んじゃうと思う。私、
That's
そんなの
true.
嫌
Like,
だから。
what can we do from our home, you know?
だから、一緒に学校に行こう。
わかった。ちょっと待っててくれ。すぐ支度するから。
I was just a little bit happy about Rena mustering that much consideration for me. We went to the place where we'd usually meet with Mion, but she was nowhere to be found. We were a little bit late today, so we thought she'd be waiting for us.
みーちゃん、さすがに今日は起きられないかもね。
Non-zero chance she was out the entire night trying to do stuff.
あ、そうか。あいつにとっては昨日だけじゃないんだよな。一昨日の晩も村長さんを探して徹夜してるんだよな。
We waited for a bit. Time passed until it got to the point where it was okay for us to go on alone, and we exchanged
どう
glances.
する？もう少し待つか？
At that point, my brain, which had finally been awoken up by the morning air, recalled the ominous words Ooishi-san had left with me last night. The leaders of the three families were disappearing one after the other. The next might be Sonozaki's leader. Could Mion have... No, that couldn't be.
行こう。今日は寝かせておいてあげようよ。
Rena gave me a pat on the back.
ミオン、本当にいるよな。
何か言ったかな？
いや、独り言。行こうぜ。
The two of us headed to school by ourselves. On the way, we saw a bunch of our classmates accompanied by their parents. It even looked like some of them were being taken to school by car. I mean, that makes total sense. Surprisingly, the principal was also standing watch at the school gate. I'd never seen that before.
おはようございます。
おはようございます。
The principal was bowing to our classmates' guardians. The wooden sword leaning next to him was a little ominous. Ominous. God, that's cool. I want to stand at the front gate with a sword.
前原くん、おはよう。竜宮くん、おはよ
おはようございます。
う。先生から大切なお話があるから、
Oh,
すぐに教室に入るように。
oh, that's never a good sign, huh?
いいかね。
Unless it's a good sign. Wait, no, there's no way. Ren and I said nothing. The madness that only existed at night had finally crawled out into the sunlight. That's what it felt like.
Minasan, おはようございます。
The hushed conversation that had been spreading for a while now all disappeared like an illusion the moment our teacher had walked in the door. Silence dominated the classroom. The principal came in with our teacher as well. This was clearly not a normal morning.
まず、校長先生から大切なお話があります。校長先生、どうぞ。
The principal cleared his throat and approached the dais.
もう知っている生徒もおるだろ
The classroom was dead silent. Everyone was staring at Rika-chan and Satoko's empty desks. The principal briefly and simply declared that Rika-chan and Satoko had gone missing. There wasn't a single person in the classroom who didn't already know. There seemed to be many, however, who couldn't accept it as the truth. It had been confirmed to them now by the principal's words. There were sobs throughout the classroom, and I heard a kid crying. They steadily spread throughout the whole room. The big-hearted principal wasn't able to keep his cool either. Aw, man.
はい、皆さん注
あー
目注目。今日から当分の間、登下校は保護者の方と一緒に行います。保護者の方の都合がつきにくい生徒は集団での登下校とします。プリントを作りましたので、よく読み、保護者の方にも必ず見せてください。
God, that's so real. Making a printout for, like, permission for this. Not even permission, but just, like, a bulletin update.
いいですね。
The teacher's voice was a little abrasive. Not even she could conceal the strain she felt from this unprecedented, abnormal situation. They should have just canceled school today. However, Rena told me that the school was also like a nursery for the students whose parents were... This is true, actually. This is one of the big reasons why you don't get a lot of, like, days where school is canceled, and especially, like, snow days and stuff. The big thing is that for a lot of students, this is, like, their only place they could, live when their parents both work. And it's a big deal because they got to actually go somewhere. So that is, something to consider there, why they don't close the schools always. When you think, wouldn't it be better just close them down? And, it's not always that simple.
では授業を始めます。委員長は
あー
お休みですね。では日直号令起立。
That feeling of wanting to maintain an everyday atmosphere, even if only in the school, precisely because our lives had been messed up, was something that I agreed with at this point. It was a long day. As for the teacher, who always had her lunch in the staff lounge, well, she ate it in the classroom today. I had to laugh at her curry bento, which was just a rumor until now, but there was nobody to laugh with me. Oh, buddy. Rena brought her chair and lunch over to my seat. Today, there was only the two of us. The fact that we didn't need to drag our desks over was sad.
眠いね。
God, isn't that the truth?
ああ。でも、もうそんなに気にならなくなったよ。むしろ今寝れるくらいのずぶとい神経が羨ましい。
そうかもね。
I was sleepy this morning, but... Whoa! Sorry. My drowsiness had dissipated after coming to school and constantly feeling the incredible tension. Rena's bento box didn't have its usual luster. That was to be expected. Rena was up for a long time last night, too. She wouldn't have had time to make her lunch beforehand. Since it's not like she would have gotten up early this morning...
遠慮なくつっつけよ。今日は素直に俺の弁当の方が立派なのを認めろ。
Look, it's just the fact that they so clearly, super care for each other. Like, I love that so much. They so clearly do legitimately care for each other in really nice ways. Even if they make fun of each other sometimes.
遠慮なくいただくね。
And, stab us with a syringe that one time. That was weird. One day we'll learn. Today's not that day, I guess.
ああ、しそチーズのちくわ巻きなんて面白いな。
The frick is perilla? What's a perilla? I'm Googling this. What's a perilla? I'm looking at my phone here. I'm looking up perilla. What is that? Perilla refers to Alexandra Zakharenko, a St. Petersburg, Berlin-based sound and visual artist and DJ. Oh, 2 L's. That's why I was very confused. Perilla is an aromatic annual herb in the mint family native to Asia. Oh, it's shiso leaf. Yeah, okay, that's interesting they called it perilla because, I know it as shiso.
レナのだって、今日のはレトルトだろうけど、なかなかうまいぞ。
Ready-made food is also good. You can enjoy it. I realized the two of us were desperately trying to brighten the mood to its usual level as much as we could. I looked around the classroom, and it seemed like we were the only ones trying to do so, surrounded as we were by gloominess.
こうして2人だけでお弁当をつつき合ってると、なんだ
Say it.
かその
Say it.
なんだかだよね。は
We know what she was trying to say. Her laughter, our? Who's our? That was just you, buddy. Grew quieter. I was the first one to mess up.
ごめん、悪かった。
いいよ。仕方ないよ。
Our chopsticks both stopped moving. We couldn't keep it up anymore.
リカちゃんとサトコ、どこに行ったんだろうな。
They went to Calgary, Alberta. God save their souls. Those words might have sounded too miserable. Everyone was thinking it, using roundabout ways to address the topic, but I came right out and said it. I heard Rena catch her breath.
昨日ね、ケイチくんがいなくなってる間にいろいろと話を聞いてたから。
ゆうべはすまなかった。頼む。
At that time, since they had arrived for support, Rena was helping the Ladies' Society cook the miso soup we'd had. They reported all of the information the villagers had gathered, and Rena said she overheard it.
でも、結局何もわからなかったんだろう。学校が終わってから家に帰って、二人で自転車に乗ってどこかへ行ったらしいということ以外は全く。
Miona had told me yesterday. We had no clues.
警察の人も家に帰ってからすぐに自転車で遊びに行ったんだろうって言ってる。家に帰ってからすぐに自転車で遊びに行くところと言ったら町かもしれないでしょ。だから沖宮の町でいなくなったんじゃないかって結論になってるみたい。警察は明るくなってから捜査範囲を沖宮にも広げるって言ってた。
In town. It makes sense why we couldn't find them, even though we searched all of Hanamizawa then. Still, something didn't fit. I had no basis for thinking that, just a gut feeling. I revealed something to Rika-chan that was likely very important to her that day. Then Rika-chan had told me to leave it be. Remember she was here covered in mud or something? Something was going on here. And then, what did she say? Alright, if she didn't work hard, then something bad might happen to the dog, I think. All talk of dogs and cats, well, I didn't have the faintest idea of what she really meant, but it might have been Rika-chan's way of saying this was a race against time. Damn it! I'd selfishly pushed my anxiety on Rika-chan and tried to run away. When I thought about it, I shouldn't have run back then. I should have asked her more about dogs and cats. It's a very strange thing to say, but I get what you're saying, buddy. The more I think back on it, I really screwed up. Anyway, I don't think Rika-chan was in a situation where she would just go off to play somewhere. Of course, I didn't have any evidence or conviction to base that on. It was just a hunch.
町なんかに行くわけないと思うんだ。
ケイチ君もそう思う？レナもそう思うよ。リカちゃんもサトコちゃんもひなみ沢でいなくなったに違いないの。
I looked back at Rena, startled. I could hear the conviction in those words. Without replying to my gaze, she took her bento box and went to the hallway.
お弁当箱を洗ってくるね。
She timed that in a way that broke off the conversation. Suddenly, I got the feeling that the next thing she had to say would be hard to say aloud in the classroom. Saying I should join along? Yeah. I hurriedly grabbed my bento box and followed her. Rena didn't go to the kitchenette, but rather to the water fountains out back, where students seldom went. Yeah, this area, yeah. Water flowed down onto our bento boxes. During the time, Rena didn't say a word. Then, after making sure there were no other students around, she finally opened her mouth to speak.
リカちゃんとサトコちゃんが町に遊びに行っていなくなったなんて。
You sound so serious.
なんだか腑に落ちなくて。
Oh.
私なりにいろいろ聞いたり調べたりしたの。
聞いた？何を？
婦人会のおばさんたちにいろいろ。昨日のお味噌汁、お豆腐がいっぱい入ってたでしょ？
The tofu man did it.
富田豆腐店のおばあちゃんも来てたの。
Okay. Yo, but for real, can I just be honest? Freaking love tofu. It's actually like such an underrated ingredient. It gets such a bad rap because of the soy stuff, because, you know, culture war bullshit, but like, it's actually so good. Freaking love tofu. Except stinky tofu. The Tomita Tofu Shop. Oh, I remember. That was one of the stores on the road leading to the hospital. Those huge lumps of tofu dancing in the bathtub-like cistern always looked nice and refreshing.
おばあちゃんね、昨日学校の帰り道に、
Okay.
さとこちゃんがお店に寄ってお豆腐を買っていったのを覚えてたの。
Did a rogue soy boy grab her, saw the tofu and was like, I must have it, just barreled her over?
豆腐？学校の帰り道にだろ？それが何か手がかりになるのか？
いいから聞いて。
One thing I find interesting is in China, it's dofu, right? Tofu, dofu. And that makes me think of Taoism and Taoism, right?
リカちゃんの家に行った時のこと、覚えてるかな？
Oh my god, didn't you look in? She looked in the fridge. Oh, you're so smart. Rena stepped away from the sinks and spread her arms wide to recreate the space of Rika-chan's room.
ガス台にお鍋がかけてあって、その中にお味噌
She
汁が
was
入ってた
making
の。
stuff.
中にはお豆腐が多分
Oh,
一丁の半分くらい入ってたと思う。
okay.
残りの半分は冷蔵庫の中にあったの。冷ややっこにするつもりだったんだね。
Strange. I don't know about
お
that, but
皿に開けてラップがかけてあった。
as Rena explained, she walked around as if she were really going through Rika-chan's
で
room.
もレナ、それが何だって言うんだ？
ケイチ君、お味噌汁のお豆腐って本当に最後の最後に入
That
れる
is
んだ
true.
ろ？
It does break down if you put it in too early.
つまりお料理してたリカちゃんか、もしくはサトコちゃんはお夕飯の時間の直前まであそこに立って料理をしていたことになるの。
夕食の時間の直前まで？
Wasn't everyone saying that their bikes weren't around, so they must have gone somewhere to play by themselves?
三角コーナーのゴミを見たらすごく不吉祥だった。食事やお弁当はほとんどリカちゃんが作ってるんだけど、たまにね、サトコちゃんがすることもあるの。だからその晩はサトコちゃんがお料理したんだね。
それってつまり、サトコに関しては遊びに行かず夕食の準備をしてたってことなのか？
うん。それで私、炊飯釜も見てみたの。
Oh my god, was there fresh rice in there?
炊飯釜には2
Ah,
人分
for
のご飯が炊けて
two.
いた。
Well, that's a good way to prove, like, How, like, the how much has been taken from the rice cooker is a great litmus test, huh?
ってことは
Yeah,
二
neither
人
of
分
them
の
ate
夕
it.
飯は作ったけど二人とも夕飯は食べなかった。そういうことか。
And nodded.
それで次に冷蔵庫の中も見てみたの。そうしたら残り半分のお豆腐で作った冷ややっこがあったの。それだけじゃない。お夕飯用に作ったおかずも何皿かあって、それらにはみんなラップがされていた。
Oh, they were making a big meal. Usually put plastic wrap things so you can have leftovers for the next day. My mom does all the time too, using them in breakfast or lunch.
そう、ラップって食べ残しとかを取っておくためにするものだよね。冷蔵庫に入れたということは少なくとも
Huh.
その晩のうちには食べないつもりだったということ。
Fair.
そういうことになるのか。
ケイチ君、もっとよく考えて。お夕飯を全く手つけずでラップしてあったんだよ。どういうことだと思う？
じゃあ夕食を食べる必要がなくなったわけだ。外食とか出前とかで。
それも突然にね。前もって決まっていたらお料理なんかしない。
Mm-hmm.
そしてお夕食は2人分用意されていた。つまりさとこちゃんは2人で食事ができると本当に直前までそう思って料理をしていたということなの。
See, now my brain's going like, were they brought to a restaurant by Ooishi-san?
じゃあ二人で遊びに行っていなくなったというのは間違いじゃないか。
そう。つまりいなくなったのはお夕飯ができて夕食に至るまでの本当にわずかな時間。多分7時頃くらい。
そんな時間に食事もせずに二人はどこへ行ったんだ。
当然そこに行き着くよね。
Uh-huh.
ケイチ君、覚えてるかな？折りたたみ机が置いてあって、その上にお醤油
True.
や箸立てなんかが置いてあったのを。
Are we gonna learn that, like, neither of them use soy sauce? And they reserve it for guests? There might have been something like that. I didn't remember.
お醤油の小瓶ね。
Yeah?
空っぽだったの。
Okay.
もう一滴も入ってなかった。
Okay.
これじゃあ冷ややっこは美味しくないよね。
That's okay. No, that's true. You would. I remember now the dish you put.
だ
Yeah.
から私、流しの下にある醤油の大瓶を探してみたの。
This is how you know someone's real. When they have a small bottle of soy sauce, and when that's done, you just fill it with a bigger bottle of soy sauce you keep around. That's been my life growing up, right? You just have that one giant bottle of, whatever brand you like. I like Kikkoman myself, and then you just put some in like a little container. We literally got a couple of containers that they literally use at restaurants, like the little soy sauce things, and we'd fill that up and use that. But then when that's done, you got to be the one to fill it up. So okay, right? So do they have the large soy sauce bottle? Although keeping it under the sink is weird because that's where I keep like cleaning supplies, but then again, they might have a small kitchen.
よくそんなところにあるって知ってるな。
Also, yeah, that's fair.
私もリカちゃんの家に行って
Aw.
お料理したことあったから。
Rena cleared her throat, her face returning to a serious expression.
でね、流しの下を開けてみたら醤油の大瓶が瓶ごとなかったの。
醤油の大瓶がないとどういう意味になるんだ。
ここから先は全部レナの想像だからね。
Okay.
だから最後まで口を挟まずに聞いていてね。
Last night, Satoko was making dinner like normal. Rika-chan usually watched TV until the food was ready. She was probably lying down watching a variety show or something. Satoko put the tofu in the miso soup, and right when dinner was about to be ready, she noticed they were out of soy sauce. So Rika-chan, who had nothing to do, brought the big bottle of soy sauce to a neighbor's house to borrow theirs. Okay. Just get some, yeah.
俺ご近所付き合いってよくわからないんだが、醤油なんかって分けてもらえるものなのか。
Would you guys give soy sauce to your neighbor? Leave a comment. I'm curious. I feel like I would.
うん。
Even if I don't know them
ひ
well.
なみ沢ではそんなに珍しいことじゃないよ。
I feel like that makes more sense than like sugar. Can you believe there's some people who legitimately like don't use soy sauce? How do you live? Sarika-chan rode her bike out to get some soy sauce. No matter how long Satoko-chan waited, though, Rika-chan didn't come back. So then Satoko-chan called up the house where Rika-chan was going. Scares me every time. Would Rika have... Oh, Desuwa! Would Rika happen to be imposing on you? Something like that. And the other person must have replied something like
う
this.
ちに食事の用意があるからさとこちゃんもいらっしゃい。リカちゃんはもう食べてるよって。
That's not concerning.
きっとそんな感じで呼び出したんだと思う。
Satoko called Rika a few names in private and wrapped up the dinner she made for them. She put it in the fridge so she could use it for breakfast and lunch the next day. Then Satoko got on her bike too and headed for the house where Rika-chan was. And then they were hit by a rogue airplane.
でもすでにこの時点でおかしいの。食事ってね、突然やってきた人に振る舞えるほど多めに作るものじゃないんだよ。
A veteran housewife would never normally make so much food she could feed 2 extra people. Well, no, but the size of them, they're like half a person each.
たまたま偶然作りすぎたことだって考えられるだろう。
それでも絶対に考えられない。
Rena flatly denied me.
だってリカちゃんはさとこちゃんが頑張って作ったお夕飯がもうできてることを知ってるんだよ。どんなにお夕飯を勧められたってさとこちゃんのお夕飯を無駄にするようなことをするわけがない。
This was all only circumstantial evidence and Rena's guesswork. Even so, it was all extremely convincing. It was the only ray of hope we had to topple the situation bereft of clues.
じゃあレナ、リカちゃんはどこへ醤油をもらいに行ったんだ？
That was the heart of it. It would have had to be somewhere she'd be comfortable with asking for soy sauce, and somewhere Satoko wouldn't think it suspicious she'd be invited for dinner. Mion's house? It's my only thought. So who was it? Rena slowly shook her head.
レナの推理はここまで。
Oh, you don't want to say.
あくまでも想像だからね。警察の人とかには内緒にしておいてね。
隠すことはないんじゃないか。仮に半分しか会ってないとしてもきっとヒントにはなると思うぞ。
ケイチくん、これってひなみ沢の人を疑うって意味だよ。確信もないのに村の人を疑えない。
I saw a few girls coming over to rinse out their bento boxes. Rena cut the conversation short there and returned to the classroom. I stayed there alone, my body bathed in the lively voices of the cicadas. Let's think about this. In my own way. Rena had barely any information to go on, and yet she'd reasoned out that much. So there should be something that only I, who knew far more than Rena did, could deduce. Ooishi-san said this last night too, but this incident was definitely occurring within Hinamizawa. Rena might not have wanted to believe it, but it's basically a given that the culprit is someone from the village. The trigger for everything was when the 4 of us trespassed in the forbidden storehouse. Somebody saw us go in there. For the culprits, breaking that taboo was a crime punishable by death. So that night, Tomitake-san and Takano-san were sacrificed. There were 2 left. Shion and myself. However, just before the culprits bore their fangs on Shion and me, they went after the mayor, to whom Shion had confessed her sin. Next, they went for Rika-chan, to whom I'd confessed my sin. Then, what about Satoko? Just a stray bullet? By itself, Rika-chan being sacrificed after I'd told her everything was mortifying. But Satoko, who was sacrificed for no reason, wasn't that all the more regrettable? Alright, I'm gonna say it. My whole joke about Satoko on the roof? Nah, she was there. She was with us too. In the shadows. She was also a witness to the room. Everything was my fault. Who would be the one next to disappear? Could it be Shion and me next time? Why weren't the culprits going after Shion and me right away, though? They had enough power to erase the mayor and Rika-chan, then why not just get rid of Shion and me? They went for us, well, I wouldn't like it, but I could still tolerate it. What I couldn't forgive was them getting rid of those we'd confessed to. Now that I think of it, yesterday, Shion said something alarming. She felt like someone was watching her. So then, was someone watching me as well? Strangely though, I hadn't felt anything like that until now. Even though I'm the root cause of everything, I'd never once had that impression. There was the one time where we saw the shadows with the shadow sprite, which some people said they didn't see. But some people also said that they think that the voice lines are not different between the different takes. No, okay, listen. I don't know what YouTube compression does. That shadow was real. Maybe that was simply because Shion was more cautious than me and I was just careless. That's another story, though. Let's go back on track. Why weren't the culprits going after Shion and me? I felt that's where the key to this lay. Could it be... Was I making a big assumption that I shouldn't have been? I thought and thought, but couldn't come up with an answer. One thing I understood was that I was a concerned party to this case, and that I had a duty to watch over until everything got resolved. I heard the ring of the bell declaring the end of the lunch break. Would somebody else disappear tonight? If nobody else did, I wanted them to get rid of me tonight for sure, and then put an end to all of this. Shion's hysterical voice on the phone last night came back to my mind. They planned to murder those close to us first, make us as miserable as possible, and only then would they kill us.
前原君、昼休みは終わりであるぞ。教室に戻りなさい。
At the principal's urging, I returned to the classroom, which is as quiet as the streets at night. There were a lot of parents picking up their children after school, just like a kindergarten. The students whose parents didn't come went home as a group. We left school with everyone else, following the assigned route. Even while leaving, nobody said anything funny. They all looked like exhausted mountaineers silently marching through the mountains. As we went, one left and then another, and in the end it was just Rena and me. I was supposed to escort Rena all the way to her house, but, well, she declined.
本当にいいのか？一人じゃ不用心だぞ。
That's worrying, Rena, I'm gonna be honest.
レナを送った後、一人で帰るケイイチくんだって同じくらい不用心だよ。まだ明るいんだもの。大丈夫。
そうか。じゃあ気をつけてな。
うん。あれ、警察の人じゃないかな。
Oh god. Rena pointed towards my house. That car is so square. There was a car stopped in front of it. From out that car came Ooishi-san. Must have been waiting for my return to ambush me. Ooishi-san started walking over wearing that annoying grin.
レナはもう行きな。あいつに絡まれると長い。
でもどうして警察の人がケイイチくんに用があるんだろう。
Rena's a good person. Even when I made a fuss over Rika-chan's disappearance, she never asked me why I did. She could have been suspecting me ever since then, and that would have been okay. Even so, she hadn't asked me anything. She didn't try and pressure me into revealing the truth.
俺は犯人じゃない。
そんなの知ってるよ。
でも事件に何の関わりもないとは言い切れない。
Rena simply listened, smiling like she always did. Even though I had insinuated I was related to the incident, she didn't look at me as though she were looking at something
今
dirty.
度話すよ。
待ってるね。
じゃあ早く行きな。
Rena gave me a slight bow and trotted away, leaving me alone with Ooishi-san, who walked over.
どうもどうも。お帰りなさい、前原さん。
どうも。
ご家族はお留守みたいですね。いやはや困っていたんですよ。
He came all the way To my house? I can only thank my good fortune that my parents were absent. Since neither of them was around at this hour, they would probably be back late.
親父の仕事の関係で出かけてるんだと思います。帰りは遅いと思いますよ。
そうですか。それは好都合です。親御さんに変な思いをさせずに済みます。
Wording, phrasing, buddy, come on. Ooishi-san pushed my back, prompting me to walk. Seemed like he wanted me to get in the car.
警察に連行するんですか？
I wasn't the culprit, but I was the cause of everything. Wouldn't be weird if you wanted to investigate me. It kind of gave me a resigned feeling.
いえ、立ち話もなんですから。車の中でお話ししようってだけですよ。
Bro loves his air conditioning.
さあ、どうぞ。
That's all it is. He opened the back door and urged me inside. If I got in, I wouldn't have a very easy time getting out. If I said no, however, then this man might really handcuff me and take me away. Couldn't refuse. I could only accept in good grace. The inside of the car had been cooled too much by the air conditioner. There's such a thing as too much? There was a rusty smell coming from the filter, which must have been cleaned only rarely.
ありゃ、冷えすぎます？
Yeah, I guess it is, which is weird, because in the summer? Buddy, you want that.
切りましょうか。
Turn off the engine, and it suddenly became quiet. And the voices of the Higurashi and all their cool loneliness snuck inside. Quack, 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 quack. Yeah, sure. It sounded to me like a chorus of voices, lamenting my exorbitant punishment for having harbored such foolish curiosity. All right, Mr. Thesaurus Man. For a few moments, while listening to those voices, I myself lamented the days that had been twisted and distorted since that night. Ooishi-san, as if waiting for me to voluntarily begin talking, lit a cigarette and listened to the Higurashi. The silence became deafening, and I was the one who folded first.
捜査の方はどうなってるんですか？
捜査？何のですか？最近はいっぱいありすぎて、どれのことやら。
全部です。
いいですよ。本当は報道管制の敷かれた秘密捜査なんですが、あなたには特別に聞かせてあげましょう。じゃあ、最初の事件からいきます。
Oh, wrong button. Freak deaths of Tomotaki-san and Takano-san on the night of Watanagashi.
こっちはお恥ずかしいかな。さっぱり進展なしです。まずは富武さん。集団で暴行を受けた形跡はあるのですが、
Yeah, we don't know about that assault there, huh?
異常な死に方の説明がつかないんです。何らかの薬物中毒を疑っているんですが、検出はされませんでした。
高野さんはどんな感じなんです？
同じくさっぱりです。焼死死体は検視が非常に困難でして、首を絞められた後にガソリンをかけられたんじゃないかと見ています。管轄が岐阜県さんでね、あちらさん、自分たちの縄張りの事件だからってあんまり協力的じゃないんですよ。と、これは関係ない話ですね。
So the police didn't know anything other than the fact that the victims died inexplicably.
ですが、犯行時間はおおむねお祭りが終わった直後だろうと見ています。高野さんの方はちょっとあやふやですが、富武さんとほぼ同じ時刻に殺害され、岐阜の山中に遺棄されたとか。
どうしてわざわざ遠くの山まで死体を運んだんでしょう？
Disposing the body, I assume?
富武さんも同じように遠くへ運べばよかったのに。
ありゃ、前原さん、あなたなかなかどうして鋭いですね。もちろん私もそこは注目すべき点だと思っていますよ。他にもいくつか不審点はありますが、まあ現時点でお話。
村長さんの方はどうですか？何か手がかりはありましたか？
Having exhausted that topic, I changed the subject. Otherwise, it might turn the conversation on me.
失踪された一日の足取りを調べました。手がかりになるようなものは見つかりませんでしたが、一応お話ししましょうか。
The mayor, Kiichiro Kimiyoshi. Apparently, he was suffering from severe hemorrhoids. I Didn't really need to know that, but okay.
古い生まれの方って非常にプライドが高いんですよね。それで村長さん、誰にも内緒で鹿骨市内にある大学病院の肛門科に通われていたんです。
So he didn't want to know that his butthole was being fingered on the regular. Got it?
失踪当日、村長さんは診察の予約が取ってあったんで、朝一で出かけられました。
Even I knew that big hospitals, like university hospitals, had a really long waiting time. Apparently, people would get in line hours beforehand, even if they had an appointment. Oh, buddy, you don't know the half of it.
診察が終わったのは午後1時頃です。その後、病院内のレストランで軽食を取られ、雑誌を読みながら時間を潰されました。
Gotta wait for those results.
この辺りのことは、自宅にあったお財布の中のレシートで分かってます。
Okay, so that means he then went back to his house. There's nothing suspicious at all about
その
that.
日は夕方から神社の集会場で会合の予定があったんです。それで余裕を持ってお帰りになるはずだったんですが、途中電車で人身事故がありましてね、どうもそれで足止めを食ってしまったらしく、家に着いたのは会合の時間の直前でした。ご家族が大慌てで神社の集会場に出かけていく村長さんを目撃しています。
会合ってのは何だったんですか？確かその会合の帰り道に失踪してるんですよね。
会合は御三家と町会の主要役員が集まってのものでした。
Interesting, they were all there, huh?
今年も起こってしまった連続開始事件の対応について協議したものと思います。
Talking about the stuff that then would later directly affect them, huh? So then, on his way home, the old man, who treated Shion like his own daughter, he was a dependable person who would encourage Shion whenever she felt pressured by anxiety, and yet, Shion's painful voice struck me right in the heart.
あれ？
どうなさいました？
What? I was taken aback at how strange my voice sounded. Yeah, you sounded kind of feminine there. We heard that, right? Listen.
あれ？あれ？
Right? What was it that just surprised me? I squeezed my head with my hands and tried to drag out what I'd only realized for a split second. Remember, Keiichi Maibara, you just realized something. What did he realize? Whenever she was pressured by anxiety, Shion's painful voice struck me in the heart. Okay. Something important. The night of Watanagashi. That was when everything started. That night, Takano-san and Tomitake-san died. The next morning, word of the incident had spread throughout Hinamizawa. They planned to talk about it during the evening meeting. The mayor, however, had an appointment at the hospital, and as planned, he went there without telling his family. He got a checkup at the hospital. Ate something. Uh-huh. And then there was an unexpected delay on his train ride back. Uh-huh. When he returned, the meeting was already about to start. The mayor changed clothes, got on his bicycle, and hurried to the assembly hall at the shrine as fast as he could. Uh-huh. For when we heard about the incident with Watanagashi, until he showed up at the assembly hall. Everything he was doing that day was done in secret. During that time, nobody found out that he went to the hospital alone. He ate alone. And he got to the train alone. That all meant he had absolutely no contact with anyone else. When did Shion talk to him about this? You couldn't have even called him on the phone. Okay. So then, did Shion lie? What does this mean, Keiichi Maibara? Why does that matter, Keiichi Maibara? Ah. Brother just realized.
ケイちゃん、私、どうしよ
どうした？話せよ。俺たちの間で 隠し事はなしだろ。
私、君吉のおじいちゃんに打ち明けたんです。
The only time when she could have been talking to him is right when she would have been murdering him. Oh boy. I told him everything. I told old man Kimiyoshi everything.
村長さんに、私、あの晩、最後でに忍び込んだこと、誰かにそれを見られてて、私たちを狙っている人がいるって。
I had an idea, but I didn't think it all the way through.
それで
君吉のおじいちゃん、怒らなかった。そして、にっこり笑って、しおちゃんがちゃんと反省してるなら、
Well,
鬼
then,
隠しになんかなるものかって。
at the very least, she was the last person to see him, right? Like, we absolutely got that at the very
本
least,
当に笑いながら。
right? Which itself is suspicious in its own way. Hmm. Sweat burst out of my body like bullets. They became one long strand and slid down from my forehead to my nose and fell. So then, what does it mean? Hey, Keiichi Maibara, no more playing dumb. When did she tell him? There we go. Shion said she learned of the incident from a phone call her father made that morning. The mayor had left the house first thing in the morning for his appointment at the hospital. He didn't tell anyone where he was going. Nobody knew about him going to the university hospital. Furthermore, his train ride back to his house was delayed by an accident. As soon as he got home, he rushed to the assembly hall, and the meeting at the assembly hall began and continued until it was dark out. Then everyone left. Nobody saw him after the meeting was over. He just disappeared. Like, it's happening. We're putting it together. Which meant, buddy?
前原さん、
Buddy, I need you to play some logic chess right now. Put it together.
大丈夫ですか？やっぱり暑いんならクーラー入れますよ。
Another part of me was messing with my thoughts, demanding that I didn't think any further than that. My head was pounding violently, and the fluids packed inside it all blended together until nothing made sense. It was just about to settle, yet it had been smashed and melted in the blink of an eye, no longer able to retain its shape.
前原さん、もしもし。
はい。
Ooishi-san lit yet another cigarette. God, your life must be so expensive. There was yet another cigarette butt placed in the ashtray. Was it displaying the passage of time? Had my thoughts been frozen over for that long?
私、知ってる限りのことを話したつもりです。お返しに、今度は前原さんの話を聞かせてもらってもいいですよね。
My mind had become a gigantic, oozing mess. My brain felt like it had been totally minced by the blades of a blender, and I couldn't think.
ほらほら、また黙り込む。もし誤解があるようなら先に解いておきたいんですがね。私は別にあなたが犯人だなんて思っちゃいないんです。
Ooishi-san gave his best attempt at an adult smile.
あの晩、あなたたち4人が西宮殿に忍び込んだことは知っています。次の日にはもう村の知る人は誰でも知る噂になってましたからね。それ自体は不法侵入として問われるべきことですが、問題はそれじゃない。そこで何があったかなんです。忍び込んだ人間が次々と犠牲になるような何があった
God,
のか。
yeah, he's just kind of revealing everything, huh?
何もなかったです。
As soon as I said it, I regretted confirming my presence there, but I knew it didn't matter
本
anymore.
当に何もなかったんですか？だって現にこうして中に入った人たちが次々と犠牲になってるんですよ。しかも扉の鍵を付け替えた村長やリカさんまで犠牲に。それだけの事態を引き起こす 何があの中にあったんです？
I was far too tired of keeping quiet about this. Perhaps that was Oishi-san's goal all along, and again, it didn't matter
大
anymore.
昔に使った拷問道具が、それを高野さんたちと見て回りました。
本当にそれだけ？
本当にそれだけです。
He's not more surprised by the torture tools, huh?
口封じをされるようなとんでもないものが隠してあったんじゃないですか？例えば覚醒剤の山とか。
So, does Bro think it's a weed house? Is that what this comes down to? He thought it was a place for weed?
消しの秘密工場があったとか。
Or sorry, opium,
ある
sorry.
いはソ連か中国あたりの拳銃が山ほど積まれていたと。
Boys, is that a big concern at this time?
不審な木箱やコンテナが山積みされてませんでしたか？
No, it was just a weird S&M torture dungeon, man. There was nothing as exaggerated as what Oishi-san was hoping for, but I felt in a way there were plenty of terrible things hidden in there. From the perspective of someone who viewed the storehouse as sacred, whether or not I had thought I'd seen some crazy things didn't matter in the slightest. The four of us broke that taboo. Punish us. That should have been what happened.
あの西宮殿に何か秘密があるんじゃないかと思って捜査令状を請求したんですがね。もう空前絶後の妨害工作がありまして、信仰の対象に対する侮辱であり、憲法で定めた信仰の自由をなんたらかんたら。いやもうだから実際に入ったあなたに聞くほかはなかったんですよ。
本当に古い錆びて埃をかぶった拷問道具しかなかったです。他に目立つものなんて何もなかったです。
では富武さんたちが殺されたのは禁忌を破ったからという制裁だけなんですかね。
So wait, is Bro literally thinking that this was like a... Was he actually thinking it was some deeper thing with, like, conspiracy and guns and drugs? Oh. I didn't have an answer for the only part.
もういちいち隠しませんけどね。あなただけが今日まで被害を免れてるんです。
What? What happened to Shion?
あなた以外は全員が消えたのに、
What?
あなただけが無事なんです。
Huh?
あなたが無事で、あなた以外が被害に遭う。どんな違いがあったのか。
What happened to Shion?
それが知りたいんです。
There was something wrong with what Ooishi-san was saying. You alone? What?
ちょっと待ってく
Yeah,
ださい。
what?
あなただけがってどういう意味ですか？
ですから、あなただけが最後の生き残りなんじゃないですか。西宮殿に忍び込んだコソ泥4人組の。
The only one left alive? Hold on. Hold on. Shion was
あ
still...
の晩に富武二郎さんと高野美代さんが死に、翌日園崎紫音さんが失踪しました。
What? So then... But then... Who was phone?
あなただけが無事に今日までを過ごしてるんで
What the
す。
frick?
なぜあなただけなのか。私はそれが知りたいと言ってるんです。
This is... Okay.
シオンが失踪したって？
When?
そんなバカな。
I unintentionally raised my voice. But I didn't care about that. Tomitake died, Takano-san died, and Shion disappeared. When did she disappear? What was this guy talking
あ
about?
りゃ、とっくにご存知だったとばかり。
そんなのは初めて聞いた。シオンが失踪した？いつ？
遡ると渡流しの次の日に失踪していたことになります。
Oh god. Going back a bit. Stop saying stuff I don't
園
understand.
崎紫音さんはその日の気分で親類の家を泊まり歩いたりしますので、 所在不明が当たり前なんですよ。
Oh, she's like a drifter.
学校も気分一つでよく休みますしね。
Okay. So she does go to school, just not always.
先生も困り果ててました。
Okay.
そんなことは聞いてない。シオンはいつ失踪したかって聞いてるんだ。
ですから、綿流しの次の日です。
The same time the mayor did? The fluids in my body all reverse direction. That's right. I was inhaling pee. I lost my sense of balance, and everything I could see started to warp and twist out of shape. I simply couldn't endure it. Hang on. Shion had already disappeared. Then that night, that call, that phone call. Who was that? She called me every night. She encouraged me. We vowed that we would do our best to live on and not be erased. That should have been a phone call with Shion. Should have been a phone call with Shion. Should have been a phone call with Shion.
学校は平気で休むし、それを自宅に知らせても取り合ってもらえないから、学校もいちいち電話しない。
Well, that makes the breakdown make more sense. Because the same person broke down on the phone as who broke down with us on the ladder.
そんなこんなで。
Oh God.
彼女が失踪したことに気づくのに、
Okay.
だいぶ時間がかかったんですよ。
Felt a stabbing pain like needles were being pushed into every pore of my body. It started on my back, began spreading throughout the rest of me. When it completely covered the surface of my skin, began to worm its way inside my stomach as well.
ほら、覚えてませんか？綿流しの次の日に、私たち図書館でお会いしたでしょう。あの時、シオンさんもいましたよね。
Yeah?
あれが最後の目撃なんです。
Oh.
あの後、彼女の所在は確認されてないんです。
そんなバカな。
That day, Ooishi-san had only caught me and Shion bounded away, lying that she needed to go to work. Didn't she call me that
エ
night?
ンジェルモートっていうファミレスのバイトですよね。あの日から無断欠勤です。今日に至るまで全てを無断欠勤してるんです。お店の人も連絡を取ろうにも取れず困りきってましたよ。
そんなバカな。
状況証拠だけですがね。図書館でお別れしてからバイト先に向かうまでこの間に失踪したと考えるのが妥当でしょうね。
Right after Shion ran away without me?
ご存知なかったみたいですね。
Oh God.
なら先に話せばもっと話が早かったかな。もうこれでご理解いただけたでしょう。あとはあなただけなんです。あなただけが西宮殿に忍び込んだ4人の生き残りなんです。
It couldn't be. Well, it just couldn't be.
次に何か起こるとすればそれはあなたなんです。前原さん、どうかご理解を。
Can't be. Shion had already disappeared? Well, that couldn't be. It couldn't be. I talked to her the day before yesterday. I talked to her last night. She was going to call me again today. That was Shion on the phone. Shion on the phone. It was Shion from
シオンさ
Shion.
んはとっくに失踪してるんです。次はあなたなんですよ。
Then who was on the phone those past nights? Who was on the phone those past nights? Who was on the phone those past nights?
そんなバカな。
Oh boy. Okay. So you gonna let us out? I lay down on the couch and stayed there dazed for a while. My mind was completely blank. I couldn't think about anything for more than a few seconds. There was a note in my house saying that Mom and Dad would be home late and that I should have some ramen or something for dinner. I could make it whenever I got hungry, but I had no appetite. So I just stared blankly at the ceiling without eating anything. Hands on the clock were already pointing at 10. Would I get another phone call like that today? Even though Shion had already disappeared, would she still call me? Where were they calling from and who were they? I mean, it's probably me on Buddy, but The more I thought about it, the more I started to tremble. I even thought about just disconnecting the phone line. If I'd been thinking a little less logically, I really would have done it too. Hold on, Keiichi Maibara. Ooishi-san admitted it himself, didn't he? That Shion went missing a lot. Couldn't she have just gone to relatives that Ooishi-san didn't know about and have been there ever since? Well, Shion and I were both being targeted by someone, so it wouldn't be strange to think she went somewhere and she usually didn't in order to hide. That must be why Ooishi-san couldn't locate her and why he labeled her a disappearance. But yeah, that had to be it. Shion hadn't disappeared at all, and my right hand moved out of its own volition, and slapped me on the cheek. Oh, I can't do it. It's too fast of a motion. Slap me on the cheek. Pwah! Right? The wrong way. Pwah! Right? Here we go. Pwah! Pwah! I can't do it. It's not doable. Because it's like way up in front of my face. If I actually slap myself, I'm going in my body. It's cold sting. Let me calm down a little.
都合よく考えすぎるなよ、前原圭一。
I knew I didn't want to admit she had disappeared. Admitting it would mean that something terrifying was definitely happening. I just needed to figure out whether Shion was the one on the phone or not. Would I ask her if she was actually Shion? That seemed like an incredibly absurd thing to do. Gotta think of a code. Gotta think of a code. The person on the other end still believed that I thought she was Shion. Well, that gave me a tiny advantage. Casually, completely casually, I would listen to what she had to say and fend her off. I would tear the skin off that monster. It would definitely be really scary for me. However, as the last survivor of the people who went into the storehouse that night, this was my duty to perform. Still then, who would call me and pretend to be Shion? I may have only heard her over the phone, but her voice shouldn't be that easy to replicate. Oh my god, wait, remember that one time her voice got weird? Oh my god, wait. That was definitely Shion's voice. It sounded just like her. Could have only been Shion. There was someone though, wasn't there? Someone who sounded just like Shion. Mion. Who else could have done this? At this point, seriously, after all this time, all those little things that didn't quite make sense about Mion until now overwhelmed my mind. Like being questioned about sneaking into the ritual storehouse and how she shook the ladder while spouting curses. Who else? Who else could have? Why though? Why would Mion... I thought back to the things about the Sonozaki family I had heard from Ooishi-san and Shion. Mion was always entangled in the incidents, in a position where she was omnipotent. Some of that information included things that Shion had told me after she had disappeared. I madly scratched at my head. Courage, give me the courage. Just a little bit of courage to pick up the phone. I know it will ring tonight. It would be so easy to run away. That, though, would be the same as making it easy for them to erase me. I cannot run. I must stand up and face it. After all, the next sacrifice would definitely be me. I was sure Shion would use tricky words to try and trap me. Be careful. Be careful. I'm scared. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Oh God, here it comes. At that point, it rang. The phone rang, and I didn't know where the call was coming from. Shion had disappeared. Disappeared a long time ago. Disappeared the night after Watanagashi. Yet, until today, she had been calling me like nothing happened. Now again, tonight, the people that had disappeared, their corpses simply haven't been found. I really didn't think they were alive. So if it really was Shion on the other end, then did that mean she was calling me from another world? Of course that couldn't be. A living being was calling me, pretending to be Shion. Shion was long gone, and yet, as though she were alive and well, the phone continued its incessant ringing. I didn't want to pick up if I didn't have to. I just concluded, though, that not doing so wouldn't solve anything. Then what would I do after I answered it? Would I immediately declare she wasn't Shion and ask who she was? Alternatively, would I pretend I was still fooled and try to grab her by the
そ
tail?
れが一番安全かもしれないよな。
What I was most afraid of was what the person on the phone would do when she realized I knew she wasn't Shion. However, as long as I continued to let her think I was fooled, she wouldn't do anything extreme, right? I just make sure to be careful. That should be the safest option. I've made up my mind. I'll answer the phone. Once I do that, I'll talk to her as if nothing had happened. That wasn't all I'd do this time, though. I'd scope her out. Who was she? What was she thinking? And what was she after? Why was she doing this? Was she really the one who killed Tomotaki-san and Takano-san? What happened to the mayor? What happened to Rika-chan and Satoko? I reached out for the receiver, my arm trembling. There were too many things I wanted to know, too many things I wanted to ask. I was scared. I should start by picking up the phone. Pick it up, Keiichi. Pick it up, Keiichi.
もしもし。
Oh, how relieved I would have been if it hadn't been a call from Shion.
ケイちゃんです
Oh
か？
god.
私です。シオンです。
My momentary, convenient, and above all fleeting prediction was ripped into 1,000 pieces. I couldn't help shaking at this point. Get ready for this.
電話、なかなか出なかったんで、お留守かと思って切ろうとしてたんですよ。
ああ、ごめん。ちょっとお風呂に入っててさ。
それでも、ご家族の方が電話を取りませ
Oh,
んか？
buddy, don't say they're not home. Don't say they're not home.
ひょっとして、
Oh
ケイちゃんの
no.
家、今ご両親はお留守なんですか？
Don't say it. I failed. I let her in on a fatal piece of information. I was currently the only one at my
いや
house.
別に留守ってわけじゃ。そんなことより
They're having sex. Shit.
聞いたか？リカちゃんとサトコの件。
いえ、結局、あの後どうなったんですか？見つかったんですか？
ああ、見つからなかった。
ケイちゃん、どうか気を落とさないで。
If Ooishi-san hadn't let me know, then I might have allowed myself to shed a tear or two at Shion's considerate words. Instead, now that it had come to this, I couldn't take her words at face value. This person on the other end of the receiver, the more perfect as Shion they were, the more my blood curdled in fear. Oh my god, what if there's a third secret sister? Bion.
リカちゃんとサトコはさらわれたんだよな。
はい、それは間違いないでしょうね。
Just how cruel and grave a meaning did those words hold? Their weight astonished me. And then a moment later, I was overcome with numbness and felt like I would pass out. I'd asked if Rika-chan and Satoko had been kidnapped. Shion, in turn, had answered there wasn't much doubt. Oh shoot, we're fishing for info! That cruel meaning behind her
リカちゃん
words.
とサトコは。いや、村長さんはさらわれてどうなったと思う？まだ生きてるんだろうか？
What happened to Rika-chan and Satoko after they were kidnapped? That's what I wanted to ask, but I frantically caught myself. What if she had given that question, terrifying response in such a way to sound like it had nothing to do with her? I was scared of that, so I immediately brought up the mayor. That said, however much I
殺
talked
され
about
ちゃ
the
った
mayor...
んだと思います。
Oh,
おいおい、そんなにあっさり。
人間をさらって、その状態を維持するのってとても大変なことだと思います。人質にするんでもない限り、ヨンが済んだら殺しちゃうのが一番合理的じゃないかと。
the world started to bend so much I almost lost my balance. The scenery in my eyes whirled around and danced like the hands of a clock and tried to swallow me whole from below. I frantically put a hand on the wall to support myself. A moment later, severe nausea welled up within me. How was she saying such things so lightly?
殺しちゃうってそんなにあっさり。
What in the meaty Phoenix Wright is this? What the frick is this song? Okay. This... I'm gonna be honest. What is this? What? This kind of sounds really bad. You know, it's funny. I was actually thinking earlier today how I think people use meaty as like a negative term. And that, you know, I think meaty music can be good. I actually really don't like this. I think this song kind of sucks. Like I can hear the song they want to play, but I think it's really failing to come through. It sounds like something you'd hear in a Newgrounds Final Fantasy game.
人の命を何だと思ってやがるんだ。
恐ろしいことだとは思いますが、多分そうではないかと。
The mayor was killed. Did that mean the same had happened to Rika-chan and Satoko? No, that couldn't be. They weren't some random old man. It was Rika-chan. It was Satoko. They couldn't have killed them so readily.
リカちゃまとサトコちゃんも同じだと思った方がいいでしょうね。
Those were the words I wanted to hear least. I fought them back with a scream of my own. I think the song is meant to represent like descending chaos. It's kind of what I feel like it's meant to convey. Right? Because I kind of hear it, but it's not all the way there. Even though it wouldn't change anything, still I couldn't help but scream. This time, the tears flowed. I've been confronted with the most horrific outcome that I've been trying to avoid considering ever since last night, and I cried. There was no longer any doubt that it was my fault. I killed them. I killed Rika-chan and Satoko. I succumbed to the weakness of my own heart and confessed everything to Rika-chan. That's why they were killed. That meant I killed them. And Rika-chan looked at me with those innocent eyes. If only I hadn't given in. Even my voice gave out, and yet I still cried. And cried. Rika-chan and Satoko. They've been killed. We couldn't even find their remains. I would never be allowed to even apologize to their faces. If that was to be my punishment, then how brutal a punishment it was. I think Shion tried to comfort me, but I didn't hear any of it.
そんなことでどうするんですか？次に狙われるのは確実に私かケイちゃんなんですよ。お願いですから。しっかりしてください。
I think this is Mion saying she thinks it's going to be her next.
お願いします。お願いしますから。
Shion was shouting, imploring me with a voice that sounded like tears were in her eyes. However, I was coming to hate the sound of that voice more and more. This Shion killed them. I had no doubt that this person killed them. Why? Why?
どうして人をさらったり殺したりするんだよ。たたりだかなんだか知らないが、人の命ってのはそんなに安いのかよ。あっさり消したり殺したり。
ええ、全くです。悪魔ですよね。
A demon. They have demon blood in them. Felt like crushing the receiver in my hand. How long did this person plan on acting like it was someone else's problem? There was magma in the pit of my stomach, and I felt like it was going to erupt at any moment.
なあ、シオン、教えてくれ。どうしてこのひなみ沢では綿流しの夜に人が死ななければならないことになってしまったんだ。
それは私が知りたいです。
もうダム計画との戦いは終わったんだぞ。なのに どうしてまだたり足りないんだ。どうしてだよ。どうして。理由があるなら言ってみろよ。
I was incoherent at this point. My emotions had broken through the dam inside me, rushing forth, and I couldn't stop them. These were not simple questions. This was an interrogation. Shion herself hadn't realized it yet. It was just too funny. It was so funny that I couldn't stop crying.
私もよくわかります。ダム闘争はとっくの昔に終わったんです。なのに毎年お社様のたたりという名の殺人と失踪が繰り返されている。なぜ？どうしてなんですか？全然関係ない人もいた。たたられるのに不相応な人だっていたのに、どうして？
それを俺が聞いてるんだ。
それを私だって知りたいんですよ。
Both our ragged breaths could be heard over the phone.
お社様のたたりなんて非現実的なものは初めから存在しません。ケイちゃんの言う通り、村の何者かがお社様のたたりというもっともらしい大義名分を利用して、
Is this someone in the room with us right now?
奴らは狡猾でした。たたりを都合よく利用して村の旧敵を毎年2人ずつ消し去るシステムを構築していったんです。そしてこのシステムで今年は高野さんたちが殺された。
じゃあ2人で十分じゃねえかよ。どうして村長やリカちゃんやサトコまで殺されなくちゃならないんだよ。それに俺は過去のことは今さらどうでもいいんだ。リカちゃんとサトコがなぜ殺されなくちゃならなかったのか、どうしてなんだ。サトコには打ち上げですらないんだぞ。どうしてサトコまで、どうしてなんだ。
A silence fell between us. Shion didn't answer for a while.
ケイちゃん、もういじめないでください。
What? A sob? Was Shion crying?
私だって何が何だかわからないんです。最後殿に忍び込んだあの晩から全てが変わってしまった。
It was the same for me. As I listened to Shion's bitter weeping, I could feel my agitation subsiding.
あの晩、高野さんたちが死んだと聞き、耳を疑いました。そしてすぐに気づいたんです。今度は自分が狙われる立場になったんだって。
Position as the leader who had to get rid of them?
忍び込んだのは私たち4人。
Or maybe not.
私とケイちゃんだけが都合よく許してもらえるわけがない。そう思った時、それがどれだけ心細くて恐ろしいことだったか、ケイちゃんにはわかりますよね。
There was nothing fake about her words. She even understood how I felt.
だから私、君吉のおじいちゃんに打ち明けたんです。
We need to know when.
私はみんなが入ってはいけないという最後殿に面白半分な気持ちで踏み入ってしまいました。いけないことだとは分かっていましたが、本当に面白半分な気持ち、ちょっとした探検気分のつもりだったんです。一緒に入った高野さんたちはその後すぐに殺されてしまいました。それもあんなむごい最後。あの日からいつ私も襲われるのではないかと怯えています。君吉のおじいちゃんしか助けてくれる人がいません。だからおじいちゃん、助けてって。君吉のおじいちゃん怒らなかった。そしてにっこり笑って、しおんちゃんがちゃんと反省してるなら鬼隠しになんかなるものかって本当に笑いながら任せなさいって。
Shion cried bitterly, recalling the beloved mayor's death. It was such a sad voice that none who heard it could prevent it from twisting their hearts. Again, did I let my emotions take over and go off at her again? Shion was in the same situation as me. She should have been my one and only comrade. Thump. My heart pounded. My other self deep within me whispered to me, Don't forget, Keiichi Maibara. Don't forget about the mayor. On the morning after Watanagashi, he was told of Takano-san and Tomitaki-san's deaths over the phone and committed to a meeting that evening. He went to the hospital appointment. He didn't tell his family. He only made it back in time, just in time for the meeting. He went straight to the assembly hall. That's what Ooishi-san said.
いつ
Ah?
村長に打ち明けたんだよ。
Ah?
ごめんな、シオン。悲しい気持ちのところに追い打ちをかけるようで、シオンは打ち明けたんだよな。君吉のおじいちゃん、つまり村長に。
はい。
When?
いつ
Yeah.
打ち明けたんだよ。
I'd begun to get scared of saying it aloud after hearing her sad voice. I wasn't saying it was contradictory, though. Besides, if there was a contradiction, I wanted Shion to explain it to me.
村長さんは重い痔を患ってて、病院にかかっていたという話は知ってるか？
ケイちゃん、それが何か。
答えてくれ。知らないなら知らないと答えればいい。
There was a momentary silence. Then after stammering a few times, she replied,
痔だったのは知ってます。座るときとか辛そうでしたから。
病院に通ってたんだ。どこの病院かは知ってるよな。
ごめんなさい。それはちょっと知りませんけど。でも、ケイちゃん、それが一体何の。
Shion didn't know what hospital the mayor went to. That meant it was impossible for her to have gone all the way to the hospital to confess everything. Since she didn't know his destination, then she obviously couldn't have seen him on the train either. If there was any other chance for him to contact her, it would have been after he came to Hinamizawa. The train, however, had been delayed and he only got back before the meeting was about to start. He didn't have time. There wouldn't have been enough time for him to listen to Shion spill the
担
beans.
当直入に聞きたいんだ。シオンはいつ村長に打ち明けたんだ？どこで？いつ？大雑把でいいから教えてほしいんだ。
ケイちゃん。
Why are you avoiding it? Her sob pierced into my ears. I was taken by the illusion that I was bullying her. Even so, I'll say it. If I'm wrong, then please correct me. Please prove to me that you're the real Shion.
ありえないんだよ。村長が失踪した日、朝から消えるまでシオンには接触できる機会はありえないんだ。
そんな。
村長は朝一で誰にも内緒の大学病院へ一人で診察に出かけた。シオンは今この病院を知らないと言った。だから帰ってくるまで村長と接触することはできないはずだ。そうだろう。帰りの電車が事故で遅れたので自宅に帰ってきたのは会合の始まる直前だった。つまり会合が始まるまでの時間にも打ち明ける時間的余裕はないんだ。
I heard Shion repeating her weak sobs. That sort of feminine voice automatically ripped into my heart. It was so painful for me to say it.
シオンも一緒に会合に出たのか？そして会合の席上で打ち明けたのか？ここで打ち明けなきゃもう時間がないもんな。
It was a meeting with the families. Mion would have been there.
村長は帰宅途中で失踪するんだから。
Shion went to the meeting, didn't she? Did she or didn't she? The question was so simple to answer, but she didn't give an immediate response.
実は会合にで。
あの日シオンが行くと言ったバイトすら君は欠勤してるんだ。もっと端的に言おう。君は俺と一緒に行った図書館以降誰にも目撃されていない。
ケイちゃん、
園崎シオンは綿流しの翌日に失踪したんだ。
Oh god, here we go. What's it gonna be? Phone to the afterlife? Or Mion? I'm putting money on Mion. The other end Fell silent as the grave. Oh my god, what if Mion was never told? It was so quiet. It was like the phone cord had been cut. I couldn't sense anyone there.
大石さんは君がすでに失踪していると言っているんだ。でもシオンはこうして毎晩俺に電話をかけてきてくれただろ。
Don't turn into laugh. Don't turn into laughter. Shion's sobs were torturing me. Still, I'm pretty sure I haven't said anything
頼
wrong.
むシオン、俺が言ったことが間違ってるならそうだと言ってくれ。シオン、頼むから。
It's turning into laughter, isn't it?
シオン、お前は村長に会ってなんかないんだ。もし会ったとしたなら。
If Shion ever did get the chance to meet with the mayor on that day, that meant...
村長が会合を終えた後、すなわち失踪する直前、もしくは失踪してからしかありえないんだ。
Oh, yep. Oh my god! Okay. Alright. Hey, you know what? You know what? Damn, you got me. You got me, game. That one got me. I haven't had that one get me since like the first lie scene. That got me. Oh man, okay. You know, I was expecting the laughter. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, that made my heart rate go up. Now that's a good use of CG art. Holy crap. Yeah, no, that's a good one. Beep, beep went the dial tone. I stood there dazed for a while, until I realized she had hung up on me. Well, that's not good. I don't know whether that's Shion actually still. Why are we going to Mahjong? If that's actually Shion, or if that's Mion, tough call, demand the truth. I don't know which it is. But mind you, if they were at the meeting, then it would have been Mion. Unless Mion and Shion have totally switched positions. I don't know, man. Okay, that is just a Mahjong parlor. We have a new scrapbook, okay. What's this one? Problem with... Oh god, what are we foreshadowing here? The problem with twins. It's not limited to just Hinamizawa, but in Onikafuchi village, especially, the three families tested giving birth to twins as successors. The long-term dictatorship built on the precarious balance of the three families must have feared collapsing under the weight of internal strife from things like family quarrels. According to literature, if twins were born, they had to be culled. Oh. With that, the fact that both the Sonozaki family successor, Mion Sonozaki, and her twin Shion are alive is in itself deeply interesting. Perhaps the current leader, Oryu, which I've learned is not spelled the same way as the one in Fate, is sympathetic. Of course, the twins were not cared for equally, and as the heir, Mion received special treatment. From what I've heard, despite the two of them looking exactly the same on the outside, the talent lies solely with Mion. My own observations of the two don't leave me with that impression. Tradition dictates that the leader of the Sonozaki family is said to inherit... Oh my god. She has a freaking Oni tattoo? That's so cool. Oh my god. Please tell me there's art of this. Please, I need to see her with the full back tattoo. Oh my god, that's actually so rad. Had to inherit a demon, and they would tattoo a magnificent one on his or her back. In accordance with the tradition, there's an extremely high possibility that Mion has such a tattoo on her back. From what I've heard, there's apparently a magnificent magnificent demon tattooed on Oryu's back as well. Probably very saggy now. And I wonder what sort of tattoo belongs to the heir Mion. I really want to see her back. That's a little strange, but alright. That is interesting. I mean, it also fits with the whole Yakuza family thing, but dang, alright. The fact that it's a demon in particular. That's cool as hell. Alright, let's play Mahjong, I guess. Frickin' whatever. Why are we here? Reserved for the day, Suzu Mahjong Parlor. Surprise, they're all actually alive and just playing Mahjong. Clatter clack.
なんだよ、クラちゃん。あんたが一番遅いよ。若い人はみんな揃ってる。
Actually, like, it's really fun to play Mahjong in a parlor. It's really fun. I've done it there.
じゃあお母さん、すみませんね。
Ooishi handed over a convenience store bag with a carton of cigarettes in it to the old lady who owned the Mahjong parlor, and she shrewdly made herself scarce. She was used to this by now.
おいさん、お疲れ様っす。
I wonder how high-tech the tables are at this time. So who are those, like, developer photos up there? That's clearly a bunch of real people.
なんだ、みんな真面目に待ってたんですか？さんまでもやってりゃよかったのに。
Yeah, but then it gets annoying when you have to pick the wind direction and stuff. Everyone's sitting at the Mahjong tables in the small parlor were Ooishi's subordinates, but there were no tiles laid out anywhere.
皆さん、連日の不眠不休の捜査、本当にお疲れ様です。
うっす。
Energetic responses filled the parlor. Already it had lost the atmosphere of a place of entertainment.
状況は芳しくありません。所長が園崎系議員の恫喝に屈したそうです。近日中に高野殺しは岐阜県警に譲り、村長たちの失踪は行方不明扱いで生活課に委ねるようです。
That damn upstart chief. The veterans in the room cursed
請
him.
求した令状もすべて却下されました。課長からは園崎家界隈には近づくなとまで言われています。いやいや困ったもんです。ちなみに私には来週から警視庁への研修命令が出るそうです。
Oh, wow.
その後は余った有給を伊豆で消化しろとまで言われています。いや、そういうのも悪くないですね。
He heard a few dry laughs. Wasn't anything to laugh about, but that was all they could do.
いつもそうですが、事件と車のキーの閉じ込めはよく似ています。開けるための鍵はいつもその中に閉じ込められているんです。車なら修理業者を呼んで扉をこじ開ける。事件なら、熊ちゃん、図面を。
Oh? Kumagai flipped over the whiteboard. On the back was a map of the Sonozaki premises made with magnets.
私もずーっとこの商売をやってます。勘には自信があるつもりですがね。退職金が欲しい方は、私が10数える間に席を外してください。
Ooishi began to count to 10, and everyone counted along with him. It was their famous 10-count resolution.
10! ああ、誰も出てかないよ。皆さん、ご家族はもっと大切にしてくださいよ。
Everybody laughed uproariously, cheering things
各
up.
自、手元の資料を確認。監視カメラの所在と資格
Oh
を
my
叩
god,
き込んでください。
They're just gonna Metal Gear their way in.
熊ちゃんは指揮者で待機。
Oh my god.
非常時は私に代わって指揮をお願いしますよ。小宮山君は突入 A 班、敦君は突入 B 班を指揮。
They're leading a raid. That's amazing.
監視班は1から8まで
Oh my
指定の位
god.
置で監視を。
Oh my god, it's
ボン
happening.
チ君はタイムテーブルを厳守。書に怪しまれないようローテを管理してください。さて、待機中の班が一番大仕事ですよ。課長に私の所在を聞かれたらとぼけてください。ゲストのエスコート役は私がやります。きっと会場へ連れて行きますので、
I
皆さん
guessed.
気長に待っててください。
Oh my god, it's gonna be Keiichi.
落ちるっすかね。
Yep,
前
okay.
原圭一は。
私の見たところじゃ、
Oh
明
my
日明後
god.
日には行けそうですよ。
This is wild. Wait, this is wild. Are we actually doing this? We're actually going to be, like, infiltrating their... Okay, this is insane. I had no clue this was where we'd be going. Detective, read all the tips. Well, that makes it pretty clear. 12 chapters seems to be the golden number. So guys, next time, probably the finale of Watanagashi. I am so excited to see how this ends. This has been an absolutely wild ride. I have no idea how it's going to resolve. I still don't know whether it's Shion or Mion, right? Is this Shion who was doing stuff for the house to regain her honor? Was this Mion who kind of went crazy when we didn't give her the plushie, and then now has been kind of plotting the downfall, of the families, right, to try and take over? Is where is this, right? What's going on? I genuinely don't know yet, right? I'm kind of betting that this is Mion, right? Because I feel like this would be Mion to do this, and it's all in response to like the trauma of the stuff with the stuffed animal. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But otherwise, yeah, I will see you guys next time for some more where we'll head on through. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been trying a new program with my eyes, and they just kind of go where they want. Can't really control them. I'm looking. There we go. All right. We'll see you guys next time then for some more. Let's read Higurashi. Ciao.
Yo.